A black screen. Words appear in white. Title: Through a Glass Darkly, Entering Video Game Worlds Through Audio Description. A white middle-aged man with graying brown hair and a white beard sits in front of a white wall. He wears a green and blue check shirt and has earphones in his ears. Words appear. Reese Lloyd, studio head. Descriptive Video Works. He smiles.
Hi, I'm Reese Lloyd, studio head for Descriptive Video Works. We are a company that specializes in audio description. What you heard off the top was an example of audio description, but for the sake of providing a clear definition, audio description is an accessibility service aimed primarily at viewers who are blind or low vision. Audio description offers a verbal description of the relevant visual components of a work of art or media product so that patrons who are blind or have low vision can fully access its form and content. The descriptions of essential visual elements have to be inserted into the natural pauses in the original soundtrack of the production, i.e. they interact but do not interfere with the dialogue or other important elements of the soundtrack. To date, the most common areas where you would encounter audio description have been on TV or in movie theaters. The practice started back in the 1990s when WGBH pioneered the service, and it has benefited over the years from activism, agitation, and legislation. Increasingly, with entertainment content moving to a subscription and streaming model, the economics of inclusion have accelerated the incorporation of audio description in content. For those of you who are blind or have low vision, you will be familiar with the challenge of watching content that is not audio described. But for everyone else, here's an example of what that's like.
Fine, thank you. Oh, sorry, just drying my hair.
Merry Christmas!
Oh, Merry Christmas to you. Ho, ho, ho.
That was a clip from the Mr. Bean Christmas special, and while that's a fairly extreme example, it represents the disorientation of the experience of watching a program with no description. I should add, by the way, that this program was aired with description and I was using this purely as a demonstration example. So that covers a basic intro to what audio description is. But how does that factor into gaming after all? TV and film are linear mediums and video games are interactive, so how does it work in gaming? When we look at audio description as an accessibility feature in gaming, we look at the full picture of all elements, from marketing to competition to gameplay itself. The most obvious place to start incorporating audio description in the gaming world is trailers. After all, these are already a linear media form, so they bear a similarity to TV and film. Concerns have been raised about whether it's creating a false message to have a described trailer if the game itself is not described. I'm going to turn to accessibility advocate and consultant Dr. Amy Kavanagh to address the value of audio description in a trailer. In this case, she's speaking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla from Ubisoft.
As a low vision player, having an audio described trailer just meant everything for me. I could enjoy the hype for the next hotly anticipated Assassin's Creed game, just like everyone else. And I was tagged by the team in the audio described trailer when it went online, and that felt so inclusive and powerful. It made a statement about their commitment to inclusivity in the game. It gave me confidence that as a blind, low vision player, I would be able to enjoy it. And it was so exciting. I even got myself my own special edition Eivor as part of, my hype. Like, I was ready for this game. I knew what Eivor was going to look like because I had the audio description. I would really encourage game studios to do it because it's fun, it's an accessible way to include another audience, and it adds a level of creativity to that hype and to that release moment that I would really encourage. So yeah, audio describe it. Pays off.
Now that we've heard from Amy, it seems only fair to the rest of you to experience the trailer in question. Here's a sample of audio description in gaming trailers, and thank you to Ubisoft for granting permission to share this trailer.
Dusk, snow-covered mountains surround a Norse town.
They are heartless.
An older bearded Northman greets a boy and girl. Next, under glowing northern lights, villagers gathered around a blonde Viking as he approaches a large statue of Odin. A woman wearing ceremonial garb turns.
Godless barbarians.
Blood drips from her hand as she lifts it from a basin. She marks the Viking's face. He gazes up at Odin. Dawn. Long ships sail away from the town towards a sunlit horizon. The ships traverse a rough sea. Next, they reach a green and vibrant coast. At night, Vikings raid a village.
They murder and kill blindly.
The blonde Viking allows a mother with children to flee. Villagers burn along a countryside. Night changes into day, a Norse settlement being erected.
They scour the lands of England. Lands they will never defend. Never love.
Fade to a dark-haired king.
The time has come to speak to them in a language they will understand.
He stamps a royal seal under a letter reading war. A brunette advisor takes the letter. With gloved fingers, the king extinguishes a candle. At night on a river, the Viking longships emerge from within thick fog. They land on a sandy shore. The blonde Viking's eyes shift upwards. The sky above begins to glow. A mass of fiery arrows rain down. Shield! Vikings raise wooden shields. A flaming arrow strikes a man's neck. They hurry from their ships. Next, on a battlefield blanketed in fog, the Vikings meet armored enemy forces. Wielding an axe, a Viking beheads a soldier. Another drives a spear through a soldier's chest. Soldiers cut the Viking down. On a hill, the king's advisor on horseback. On the battlefield, the older Norseman dismembers a soldier. The Norseman fights off a spearman, but is impaled by another. The blonde Viking hurls a hatchet, striking the spearman in the forehead. The blonde Viking rests the deceased Norseman's hands over his axe. Lightning flashes overhead. From the hill, the blonde Viking wields double battle axes. Staring at a large armored knight, the advisor motions towards the battle. On the battlefield, the blonde Viking rages as he slices into soldiers. Glaring, he stares across the field. A cloaked, bearded, elderly man leans against a tree. The man vanishes as lightning flashes. A raven soars from the tree.
Odin is with us!
Vikings and soldiers gather. The blonde Viking turns to face the large knight. Now holding a single axe, the blonde Viking grabs a sword as he charges at the knight, who smashes him aside with his own blade. The Viking dodges a blow, then drives his sword into the knight's thigh. The knight backhands the Viking away, then pulls the blade from his leg. The Viking strikes, glance off of the knight's armor. The knight cuts the Viking's axe head from its shaft. He headbutts the Viking, who staggers. The knight grabs the Viking, then puts his sword to his throat. He glances back at the advisor, who signals. Suddenly, the Viking plunges a hidden blade on the outside of his gauntlet through the knight's eye hole. The knight falls to his knees. The Viking pulls his stained blade out. Blood spills from the knight's helmet. The advisor stares with wide eyes. The Viking glares.
Watching that trailer gives you a good sense of how audio description interplays with the production audio and can elevate the visual environment for gamers who are blind or have low vision. Audio describers work very hard to fit the most vivid descriptions into the smallest gaps between dialogue, music, and key sound effects. It can be very challenging, and it requires training and experience to excel at picking the perfect phrasing. But the results speak for themselves in terms of creating an immersive experience. For trailers, we've found the best results come through collaboration with the team involved in producing the trailer. There are often hidden visual elements in a trailer that would be caught and enjoyed by a fan of the game but might not stand out to a describer when reviewing the material. We rarely have the opportunity to describe everything. Collaborating with the production team allows us to incorporate these elements into the description and ensure that the viewer gets the same inside information that a sighted viewer would receive. After these initial meetings, a script is created from the final materials, no point in describing things that might not make the final cut. And concurrent with that is the important process of voice casting. It's important that the voice works within the world of the game but stands out from any other voices in the trailer. Once the script is reviewed and approved, it gets recorded and then mixed in with the production audio, ensuring that the ducking of the primary audio is done seamlessly to allow the audio description to supplement but not supplant the primary track. And then voila, an audio described trailer is complete. Now, there are other ways in which audio description can be incorporated into the gaming world. Live audio description has been incorporated recently into gaming awards shows and launch events. It could also be incorporated into esports tournaments. But it doesn't need to stop there. Audio description can be incorporated into actual gameplay elements like cutscenes, cinematics, and intro screens to immerse the player more fully in the world of the game. This process involves the describer receiving as much script material as available and working with individual clips to provide evocative descriptions that capture both the environment and the mood of the game. Consultation with game writers and developers is key to ensure all elements are properly understood and captured. Once recorded, the final product can be incorporated into a game in much the same way like a localized language track works. In terms of when audio description can be incorporated into the game, it can happen at any time, early in development, late in production, or even post-release. Traditionally, audio description is added once all final elements are received. However, off the top of this presentation, you also heard some audio description. This was a rare case where the visual content was created to incorporate sufficient time for a full description. Incorporating the description at early stages of the development could allow the immersive experience of audio description to reach new heights. It could even allow the player to make choices about how much description they hear at different points of the game. With the growing convergence of interactive content and linear media, there are exciting opportunities for the gaming community to influence the next stage of development for audio description. So should you incorporate audio description into your game? I'll leave the final word to our good friend Brandon Cole.
Video games today are massive. They are full of giant worlds, sprawling vistas, amazing views. And audio design is one thing. Audio design can communicate a lot of information to a blind or visually impaired player. But to really convey the epicness of the views and the tremendous art that goes into a video game is not enough. Audio description in video games would help with that. Audio description would increase our immersion by describing the environments we're traversing through as we play a game, or even as we're listening to a game. Even if a game only had audio description as an accessibility feature and wasn't otherwise playable, it would at least increase our enjoyment. We would take in a game much like we take in a movie or TV show today. Audio description in video games is the future. It is the way to convey the amazing scenery of a game to a blind person. And I absolutely believe that it should be considered by all developers in the future as we go forward.